Look at what?
The light thing
No.
hanging down too far.
Oh. Good morning, beloveds. I'm not awake yet this morning, but that's Sunday, and that's normal. And I think my camera lens needs to be cleaned, but hey, I don't. And my brain's not awake. My body is awake. My body is up and moving, but that's normal for me. My body is up and moving, and then my brain takes a little while to catch up. I do try and give myself that one day to sleep in, but I still wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then finally at 8, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up. And yesterday I had this, I was working on a project, and I thought that I was further on in a project than I was, and then I looked everywhere in my house for the part of the project that I thought I'd done, and I couldn't find it. And I was just like, I just lost my mind yesterday. But it was frustrating because I was like, I know I've done this and I can't find it. And we looked in all of the places that it could have, and we couldn't find it. And then finally I looked at something else and went, oh no, I haven't even started on this part of the project. So life is like that, though. Some days we're absolutely convinced that we're further along in something than we are, and then we discover that we're not, and we're like, I'm just absolutely at this point convinced that time is an illusion, which I know. I mean, time is an illusion, and we use it so that we can do things like boil eggs, and to get from one place to another. And then sometimes we get out of ourselves and realize that time only has the meaning that we give it. And if we don't assign it meaning, then it doesn't have meaning. Or if we assign, it's like the label of good and bad. An experience is just an experience. You're the one who decides whether it's a good one or a bad one. Time seems to be the same thing. The world is a crazy place right now. I mean, the world's always a crazy place. But we're in the midst of a major shift on so many levels. And I think that we are now discovering the power of choice, the power of labeling, the power of responding and reacting, and yeah, it's good that it's the month of creativity. I think it's been a powerful month. We're almost halfway through it, so let's get to it. Okay, it is June 14th. It is Sunday, which means I will be back at 11 with the live stream with the crew. And today's topic is daily I die to everything that is unlike good. No irony there at all. Okay. The Talmud says that unhappy conditions arise when we mistake shadow for substance. Even the valley of the shadow of death causes no fear when we arrive at the consciousness of the psalmist who, from the exaltation of his divine deliverance, proclaimed, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." The rod and the staff of truth are the realization of the substantiality and the permanence of that which cannot change. We are ever renewed by the passage of the divine light through our consciousness. The revitalizing, regenerative power of the Spirit flows from the consciousness of wholeness into our physical organism and into every objective act when we give the realization of the divine presence free passage through our thought. I know that every apparent death is like a resurrection. Therefore, today I gladly die to everything that is unlike the good. Joyfully I am resurrected into that which is beautiful, enduring, and true. Silently I pass from less to more, from isolation to inclusion, from separation into oneness. The perfect law of good is operating through me. Joyfully I accept it. Joyfully I permit its action in everything that I do. I know that my recognition of good is the substance of the good which I recognize, and I know that this good is ever taking form in my experience. It is impossible for me to be separated from my good. June's been hard. I want to use the word hard because he's making me think and he's making me work for it. It's not difficult, but it's hard because it's like, it's so simple, but I have to wrap my mind around it because this is not the lesson that the world has taught me. That's what I mean. This is not the lesson that religion has taught me, that culture has taught me, that society, this is not the lesson that culture has taught me. So that's what I mean by hard, because I'm in the process of unlearning. I mean, I've been in this teaching for 15 years, maybe? About? And sometimes he just says things that I'm just like, but that's not what I've been taught. And I think that that is the lesson that we are learning in Science of Mind, is that all of this stuff that we have been taught isn't necessarily true, and it doesn't matter how big of a capital T they put on it. It's not true. And we have to learn to use our own faculties to determine what is true. And we have to use our head and our heart and our spirit and our trust. That's a big word right now, is trust. Okay, so the title was Daily I Die to Everything That Is Unlike Good, which is kind of a shocking title, but I mean, if you know anything about quantum physics, they talk about that, how we die from moment to moment and are reborn. The moment is constantly collapsing, and okay. So he starts out by saying the Talmud says the unhappy conditions arise when we mistake shadow for substance. That's true. Shadow for substance. So if we're not looking at the real substance, if we're not looking at reality, if we're looking at perception, we can make ourselves desperately unhappy by not seeing what's truly there. So he's quoting yea, through the valley of death I walk, the psalm. But it causes no fear. Even the valley of shadow of death causes no fear when we arrive at the consciousness of the psalmist, the author, who wrote the exaltation of his divine deliverance. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So Ernest is equating the rod and the staff with truth, with the capital T. And then he says that is the realization of, and that's the word I stumbled over, substantiality and the permanence of that which cannot change. Spirit can't change. Spirit is permanent. That cannot change. The mortal forms that we wear can. They are not permanent. But the soul within that mortal form is permanent. You The heart of you is permanent. The body that you wear is not. We are ever renewed by the passage of the divine light through our consciousness. That is a power statement right there. Because when we allow the divine light to pass through our consciousness lights up. And when it lights up, then we can see all the dark places that need attention. And I'm not saying they're bad. Maybe neglected. We can see all the dark places that need attention. We can see all of the places that need to be mended, all of the broken places. We can see that. So when we allow that divine light in, and sometimes that's what we're terrified of. Sometimes we're terrified if we let that divine light in, and the divine light sees the floors that we haven't swept and the closets we haven't cleaned out, that the divine light is going to be unhappy. Well, nothing can be further from the truth, because the divine light is not going to judge you. All the divine light is going to do is show you the places that need some work. That's it. No judgment. No judgment at all from the divine light. So let that baby flow. The revitalization and regenerative power of spirit flows through the flows from the consciousness of wholeness into our physical organism and into every objective act when we give the realization of the divine presence free passage through our thought. And he says it right there, free passage. We have the ability to kink the hose. If we are willing to open up and trust and allow that divine presence free passage through our thoughts, that divine light free passage into our consciousness, then there is nothing that we cannot heal. There is nothing that we cannot fix. There is nothing that we cannot sweep out. But we have the ability to get in our own way. I know that every apparent death is a resurrection. Therefore, today, I gladly die to everything that is unlike good. That's kind of scary to say. It is. But it is a truth that I am willing to accept. Joyfully, I am resurrected into that which is beautiful, enduring, and true. Silently, I pass from less to more, from isolation to inclusion, from separation into oneness. The only thing keeping me in isolation, in separation, is me. And my reluctance to trust, my reluctance to allow the divine presence, to allow the divine pattern, to allow the divine presence and recognize the divine pattern, and to recognize that I am a child of God. And then to recognize the children of God all around me. So I can move from isolation to inclusion by recognizing the children of God around me. And I can move from separation into oneness by recognizing that I am a child of God. The perfect law of good is operating through me. The perfect law of good is always operating through me, especially when I can get out of my own way. Joyfully, I accept it. There's no greater power than gratitude, because gratitude is love. Joyfully, I permit its action into everything I do. Even into the mundane things when you're cooking in the kitchen. Are you letting the divine light in there? Are you allowing it to bless your actions as you cook for yourself or for others? I was trying to think of the most mundane thing I could think of. Cooking. I know that my recognition of good is the substance of the good which I recognize. Okay, let me try that again. I know that my recognition of good is the substance of the good which I recognize. I'm going to have to think about that. And I know that this good is ever taking form in my experience. It is impossible for me to be separated from my good. All right? God is all there is. God is all around you. Spirit is what everything is made from. The eyes of the person that you look into are the eyes of God looking back at you. Oh. He's not giving us a break this month. He's really powering on through. He'd be interesting to sit on a bench and talk to for 20 minutes to an hour or longer. So your mission, should you choose to accept it today, is to allow the divine presence free passage through our thoughts. Let me try that again. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to allow the passage of divine light through your consciousness and the free passage of the divine presence through your thoughts. Yeah, he's making me work this month. It's good. I'm learning a lot. I hope you are too. Okay. So I am going to go and get ready because we have a service for you and it will be amazing, and I have no idea other than I know what the title is, and now I don't remember because I posted it last night. So if you scroll back on this page a little bit, you'll see what Jesse's topic is. And it will be an amazing service because it's Reverend Jesse. It always is an amazing service. So we will be back with you at 11 on the Facebook page for the service, and then it'll be up on YouTube later. And we will, Reverend David will be on sometime around 5. He was on the dot yesterday. It was pretty cool. And then the day before he was on at like 10. And I will be back with you Monday at 9 a.m. All right. As I tell you every day, do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Let that divine light flow through you and light you up. All right, beloveds. It is it's going to be a good day. It's Sunday, and Jesse will be on today. All right? Love you guys. Have a fantastic day.